My sheep hear my voice, and the stranger they will not follow, but will flee from him, for they know not the voice of strangers.
Wisdom is crying without or outwardly. Wisdom, according to Proverbs chapter 1, verse 20, wisdom is actually crying out loud. Wisdom is not just crying within, but wisdom is crying without. And here in the proverb, we see that wisdom is being personified. In other words, wisdom is being made like unto a person. And in this case, the person is female. The person that, when wisdom is personified, the figure that Solomon chose to use in order to make wisdom more attractive to us is that he makes wisdom a woman, makes wisdom female, makes wisdom feminine. And of course, there's reasons for that. And of course, the number one reason that wisdom here is personified, and that personality is female, is because wisdom is supposed to be attractive to who? The male, which is the son. And I have mentioned this on several occasions that our study is called Raising Kings and Queens. But I think I have made it abundantly clear that my major emphasis is on raising men, from boys to men to from the prince who's going to eventually become the king. And the reason why, obviously, I've said this in previous videos, and that is with the so-called absentee fathers, or with a whole generation of men who are, for one reason or another, and I'm not getting into that as we do the study. I'm just dealing with the fact. One reason or another was not there to pass this type of wisdom down to their sons. And everybody keeps complaining about it. Well, who's going to show them? Who's going to show them? So as a moray, I'm like, you know what? Then I will take on the responsibility of teaching the next generation of Israelites, especially the young Israelite. They're the prince, born the princes. I'm going to show them the wisdom that was given to us or passed down from our foreparents. And if anyone says, well, you know, ain't nobody out here teaching, then it'll be a lie, because you'll be able to say, no, moray is taking out time to do an exposition on the entire book of Proverbs, that we might be able to teach the young men how to become eventually kings. And of course, I've already dealt with the fact that then the young woman, by marrying the king, becomes a queen. But really, we're going to find that the emphasis is that she is going to realize her position as a wife and her authority as a mother. So going back to the purposes of the video is to say that you're going to see wisdom now personified as a woman, because when this was written, we didn't have the heavy influence of the A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, elemental, P, Q, R, S, T, U, V, W, X, Y, Z people, always trying to blur the lines. So in Israel, our people, the woman attracted the man. Yes, the woman, the female is who attracted the male. And so you're going to see in the proverb, many times we will see how the wisdom of our grandfather, Solomon, we're going to see how that wisdom, in his wisdom as he shares with us, he's going to be talking about what should be the natural laws of attraction, which is the female attracting the male. All right, so you'll see wisdom is going to be made or personified as a woman. It does not mean that wisdom is a woman. Get it straight. You, Holy Ghost is a woman. The Ruach of Yah is a woman, and all that kind of stuff. Y'all gonna be in trouble for that. That is not true. That is not taught in the Bible anywhere in the Bible. What Solomon is doing in the book of the Proverbs is, first of all, it is a proverb, which I've dealt with that already in the definition. It is a proverb. So to understand a proverb is why we're together right now. It's the gift that he's given us to understand it. And he's not trying to say that wisdom is a woman, but he is making wisdom, or wisdom is personified here as a woman for the simple purpose of attracting a man, or in this case, calling out to the son or to the prince. And so you will notice that before we even get into this actual parable, we find that wisdom calls on the prince, on the young man, immediately after sinners try to entice the young man. So right off the bat, you're going to see that the Israelite male, and as I said before, as this applies to our daughters, we can apply it. The Israelite male is going to be immediately tempted and tested his whole life. It is a life of temptation, and it is a life of testing. So when we open the book and we see the very first proverb, technically speaking, you're going to see a proverb that's talking about being enticed by sinners. Now, as we move to the next proverb, we're going to see the young man being called by wisdom. So you have the first one being enticed by sinners. And then in this particular proverb, you are being summoned by wisdom. You are being called by wisdom. As a matter of fact, it says wisdom is literally yelling at the top of her lungs. Who she is crying out. Where? In the streets. I know you're saying, no, Maury, you got to be joking. No, it's right here. She uttered her voice in the streets. In the streets. Yes, it is another picture. Remember, the young man is being enticed by sinners as soon as he leaves home. But, and he is warned, don't go with them. Why? Because they are only involved in stealing, killing, and destroying because of their bloodlust and their greed and willingness to kill someone, to murder someone in order to fulfill their greed. In those same streets, which means outside, there will also be wisdom crying. Or I'll use the term like this. There will also be wisdom calling. So there will be sinners calling. And right next to that, there's going to be wisdom calling. And so sinners are trying to entice you, while wisdom is trying to call you. Or a better word, wisdom, she's trying to summon you to come her way. And the picture, we will get into this on the next video. I'm just introducing this one. And the picture is, she is almost tired of calling on these Hebrews, on these Israelites. It literally, the proverb is giving us a picture of wisdom almost being exhausted, trying to call this Hebrew toward her, because it seemed like he just want to stay simple. He want to stay foolish. He just wants to go his own way. And she's like, I've been hollering and hollering and hollering and trying to tell you. But it seems like you are just bent on rebellion. You're just bent on the way of the unrighteous. You just like being a simpleton. You just like being ignorant. You just don't like knowledge, and you don't want understanding. And so she has a job, and her job is to keep calling. But in the parable, it is almost as though, and we'll get into this when we get into the next one, it is almost as though she's gotten to the point where she says, you know what? I'm just going to keep calling, and I already know that a whole lot of you are not going to answer me. And as a result, you're going to have to deal with the consequences. And when those consequences come and you have rejected me, she said, I'm going to laugh at you. She said, I'm going to make mockery. I'm going to laugh you to scorn. Get ready for it. So we could see that the young man has actually pushed wisdom. He has, by his rejecting of her, he has, it seemed like the more she called, like, oh, you done got her to the end, like, you trying my patience. So we're going to dive into it, but understand wisdom is being personified as a woman, because here she is to be attractive, naturally be attractive to the man, so that he would leave the sinners and follow the path of wisdom. Toda Rabbah for Yah letting us see that, and for you all being in the room.